that record button, as we are recording now for YouTube in our first heat here. Tom Payton and Guillermo Sauer are our two track marshals currently. Everybody running clean as a bean out there. Randy Kirtley on blue, our current leader, as he makes some pretty good passes here. There on purple, we see Bruce Bullington. Very, very high competition here as he's got a few laps to make up with Randy Kirtley, running a very fast purple lane there as he makes the pass on the inside of Gerald Suttle on yellow. Uh, Gerald Suttle there running very deep there on yellow. We'll see if he's able to defend off Randy Kirtley, and he's doing a good job as Randy Kirtley's running tight, and all four of them end up in an incident. But we see Gerald just keep rolling. Everybody's rolling. None of the buttons are working. Everybody's got to wait. That's the nature of the beast. The track has been shut off since yesterday. You got to rely on these. Hey, the switch is turned off. I forgot. I didn't turn it on. But, anyways, look at it turned on. I was able to. Oh, whew, sometimes I get a little bit of amusement. I can't remember everything. I try my best, but man, this is cracking me up. I hate it for the racers, you know. We all make mistakes out here. And I hate that they had to suffer that, but you know, hey, don't get in a wreck. That's all I can tell you. You know, they have. I was just seeing them there for a second, and I just noticed, like, why ain't they hitting buttons? And I started noticing them all trying to jam the buttons. Yeah, those buttons wasn't working because I shut it off the other night. But anyways, they just kept wadding up. So hopefully they get their stuff fixed. I don't know. Keep it on the track. Look ahead of you. Try your best to stay on. It's a very, very risque style track here for sure. And I think sometimes the guys just get used to being able to kill the track and skills out the window. But, you know, you got to see them in their real moment there for a second. And that might be clippable also. You'll get to see it right off the gate in our second recording for YouTube. Is Randy Kirtley's car stalled out there on blue? And now they're all blaming the track. Well, we can go ahead and shut it back off. My wife even thinks that's funny. Well, I mean, I can do only do what I can do. I mean, they want the buttons on. I guess they need to check and see if the switch is on. Good luck to them. As they head back green racing, looks like there was nothing wrong with the track. Surprise there. As we head back green there, Randy Kirtley still in third place there. Bruce Bullington, first place, 42 laps there on purple, as that incident caused a lot of them to fall off. Randy Kirtley there trying to give a little bit of a side swipe to Glenn Burden there on the orange, but wasn't able to successfully do that, as it caused both of them to wreck. And we see Glenn Burden actually following the rules. We can always account for Glenn Burden to follow the rules around here, as he puts his car where it's supposed to be. And we thank him for doing that, as, you know, me and Glenn on the same kind of mindset, really, when it comes to racing, that if you know the rules and you don't follow the rules, you're not really winning. And you know that deep down. Every racer, everybody that's ever done anything competitive, they know that. It's kind of like golf. When you go out there and golf, there's not some ref out there watching you in a scramble to see whether or not you're playing by the rules. It just so happens you got other people here that are watching you, but they're not going to call you out on it. But they all know that you're cheating. But Glenn, no. Every time that he does something, he's like, put my car in front of the line. He goes by the rules here. And if anything, that's a shining beacon to show you the character of Glenn Burden. And Glenn Burden, very unfortunate so far, as he did take that penalty, and that's probably why he's in the back right now. And he was involved in somewhat of that incident, of course, too, early on. But Glenn is always high-spirited, and just like the Bible says, you reap what you sow. So Glenn is definitely going to reap good for the good that he's doing, following the rules. and trying to be a beacon to other racers to do the same. Now, he can't force people to do it, and he's not the type of person to come out and say, hey, you need to do that. He'll just let them do it. But then at the end of it, whenever they lose, people do talk. It's just like anything else, and they'll say, well, we would have won that if they'd have followed the rules. But, you know, don't get a bad reputation is what I'm saying. Just keep your nose clean and do kind of like Glenn's doing. Just always follow the rules. You won't have anything to worry about. People will respect you more. I mean, you'll hear 9 times the bad news over 1 time of the good news. So, Glenn is definitely an outlier for sure, and he, in this case, is the one good news for sure that we're going to represent here at Lanes Raceway for following the rules. Just keep following the rules, and everything will work out great. Gerald Suttle there, right next to Glenn Burden. Yes, he's kind of relaxing there, telling Sam he's on red. That's Sam there in the bottom right, upper left, getting his car ready to go back racing. Robert Whitaker up there in the top portion of your screen, getting his car ready to go. He's going to be on blue. But at the end of the day, this is a hobby. Everybody's enjoying themselves. Everybody's having a good time. And we just want it to be as smooth and as pleasant of an experience for all the racers and even the staff. And this ghost setup, I love it. I mean, I'm just so thankful that my dad brought it to our attention. Evidently, it was a big collaboration of people on Slot Blog that have been talking about it, how to do this, and there was all kinds of entries and stuff. Well, he went 9 or 10 pages deep to find this printout, and we thank the person that done it. I'll actually thank them live if I can see if there's a name to it. I don't know if they put their name on it or not. They did not. I'll show it to you in case you're a slot car racing somewhere. I'll show you the top portion first. So there on the left, you see DSO. That's 3 racers, 1 set out. You need 4. 4 set outs will be total, but then you'll need 9 ghosts, like there at the top. And it just goes down for how many racers you have. Racers being like at the bottom, 14 and 7, so on and so forth. A pretty good little setup there, if you wanted to clip that or whatever, or even try to find it on Slot Blog. But we'll go back green race, and we see Bruce Bullington there in the lead with 81 laps. Several cars coming off the track there as our track marshals trying to get these cars back on. That was a double hit. A couple of those cars should actually go in front of the line. So like I said, this is where I say if one of those cars was to win the race, they know deep down that they are skating the rules. And, I don't care who wins or loses here at Lanes Raceway. I encourage everybody to try to win. I hope everybody does win, but I know it's not possible. This is racing, ladies and gentlemen. There's only one winner. And a lot of times, we're pretty lax when it comes to bending of the rules. If you can bend them, you can bend them, but just don't break them. And, if these guys are fine with them doing that, the real reason that we allow people to hit those buttons is not supposed to be a convenience for the racer, but a convenience for the track. So if they want to do that, like right here, if I was a track marshal, I would say track and make somebody hit it. But the issue is we have too many people wanting to hit the buttons at once, and that's why it keeps popping back on. Bruce Bullington still our leader here, 110, 48 laps turned. Gerald Suttle in second with 101, followed by Randy Kirtley there in purple, involved in an incident early on where the track wasn't able to be shut off. Which, we're in this together, so if you think maybe the switch ain't on, it might not hurt to crouch down there and take a look. All these racers know about the switch. And, it's just like in our drag racing, our drag racers, they follow the rules pretty well. I tell them, make sure the sensors are clean. Whatever the computer says, the computer's right. Over people, they don't have an issue with that. So, Circle Track can maybe take some tips from them. Bruce Bullington leading the race with 124 total laps. Gerald Suttle 115, Randy Kirtley 112, Robert Whitaker 108, Glenn Burden 99, Sam Nelson 52. As we round up that second brutal heat. Of course, these guys probably not too pleased with me right now, but you see me laughing because I kind of think it to be a little bit funny starting out. There's a lot of stuff to do to get one of these races up and going. Anybody that's ever ran one of these tracks and tries to keep it all situated, it's hard enough just doing that alone, let alone trying to, on top of keeping all the software running and the track not messing up and making it where they can hear and making it where they can see their lap times. On top of all that, trying to run a stream and try to keep it running, it's literally about a three-person job when it's all said and done. But, I think we've done well. I think a lot of the guys have been very patient with us. That's why they haven't really got really upset with what just took place. They know that we're live streaming here. These guys, they know it's a hobby at the end of the day, and they love going back and watching their lap times. They love going back and comparing to see how they did this date versus this date, how cold it was outside versus how warm it was outside on that day, and did they gain time, did they lose time, and they enjoy it. So they understand from a point of view that, my mind's not always 100% being able to keep track of everything that's required, and I'm always trying to make something better for the guys no matter what. Like, I know the guys love listening to music when they race, and that's probably, to be honest, why I didn't check the switch. It just slipped my mind. But it did end up in somewhat of a funny collision and just mass chaos. I mean, it was funny to me, just seeing everybody lose their mind because they couldn't hit the buttons. And then it snapped in my mind. I was like, hey, you can pause it from here. So I did. So it didn't get as bad as a full-blown J, but it was close to a full-blown J. I think there was only like one, maybe two people still on the track. For those that don't know what a full-blown J is, in our series, Jay Latham, that is, was the first person to ever cause everybody to wreck on this track. And Jay called me and he was like, hey, was it me that caused that or was it Sam? So I slow-moed it, but I didn't slow-mo it down super, super slow. And I was like, it was Sam that caused it. But then, like, I took it, downloaded it, put it on some software and slowed it down really, really slow. No, it was Jay. He was coming out hot and ended up nudging into Sam, and it just looked like Sam was doing it. But like I said, he caused everybody to wreck there on what was the front stretch there where the white line is, but it's actually the back stretch now. So we go back green racing, though. Hopefully we don't have any full-blown J's here in this heat. As we go, Bruce Bullington there, still in the lead, 128 laps. Gerald Suttle, 120. Randy Kirtley, 119. Robert Whitaker, 115. Bruce Bullington, known for building these cars for this circle track. Look how fast that baby's going there on yellow. Really flying. As Randy Kirtley's doing his best to try to reel him in, and he's doing so at a very minute amount each lap. Both, 9/100ths of a second each lap. As Bruce kind of lets off there a little bit, Randy Kirtley able to catch him and pull him on the inside. Randy Kirtley also dive bombing to try to get the car of Robert Whitaker, and he's able to make the pass clean and not cause any injuries. But then Robert Whitaker, maybe surprised by that pass, drove her a little bit deep and ended up causing an incident between him and Bruce Bullington. So we get several people trying to get their cars put back on. Randy Kirtley being one of those in the high bank corner down there. Robert Whitaker and Bruce Bullington neck and neck, slapping Lexan as Randy Kirtley joins in the mix. Randy Kirtley going to pass Robert Whitaker again there on the inside, and he does it there on black as Robert Whitaker gives a little bit of the steel bullhorn there to Bruce Bullington on yellow. Bruce Bullington back in it, getting passed by Randy Kirtley on the inside there, going around the back stretch there on black. Yellow being Bruce Bullington, black being Randy Kirtley. Purple there of Robert Whitaker getting reeled in by Randy Kirtley. Is Randy Kirtley fast on the inside there? I'm wondering why that didn't cause a little bit of Lexan slap, but he makes it through nice and clean. Bruce Bullington reeling in Robert Whitaker there on purple as Randy Kirtley comes off on black, getting fumbled around by both Glenn Burden and Guillermo Sire. Randy Kirtley's car back on as we get Robert Whitaker's car to come off there on purple. In a timely fashion, Guillermo Sire gets him put back on. Bruce Bullington making up the laps there over that incident that took place. Bruce Bullington passing on the outside of Robert Whitaker's car there on purple. Now Randy Kirtley making a stab at Robert Whitaker as we end the heat there in a timely fashion of just 2 minutes. Bruce Bullington, 182. Randy Kirtley, 174. Gerald Suttle, 168. Robert Whitaker, 164. Sam Nelson, 106. Glenn Burden, 99. Tom Payton, 52. Average laps of Bruce Bullington, currently 60.7 laps, followed by Randy Kirtley with 58. These guys really racing hard, giving me a little bit of cottonmouth. So much action going on in that previous heat, as we could tell that Randy Kirtley was really just driving that black lane hard. But not to mention Bruce Bullington. I mean, if I was in the situation of Robert Whitaker, I would be very much nervous too. I probably would have came off a lot more than just one time that heat, as I was getting attacked from both sides. It seems like Robert, every time he was looking up, he was going into dead man's corner with one car or the other. It was just brutal for both of them. But these guys definitely raced Robert clean, and Robert was able to make up some pretty good laps there for sure, as he is currently in fourth place and was running pretty close with the guys. 144 left to go before these guys go back. You see every one of them up there in the pits working on their cars. Sam Nelson rounding about the high bank corner there of the green track. He's rolling around, going to go over and work on his car on the blue table, is where he usually sits there, right behind Bruce Bullington. Bruce Bullington doing a little bit of an oil job, maybe a tightening of the gear here and there. Robert Whitaker there at Dead Man's Corner putting his car on black. And I'm going to take a small break here and grab me something else to drink. This time I think I'm going for water. It's pretty good water. I don't think it's spring water, though. No, it's just purified. Mineral enhanced, though, for taste. Randy Kirtley there in the left side portion of the oval track screen, disappearing off screen. Glenn Burden in the top left of your oval screen, working on his car. Getting ready to be a force to be reckoned with, I'm sure. Tom Payton checking out the tweets here at Lanes Raceway. Might even be checking out a live stream. Old Tom Payton, he's here. He's got a mailbox here. Him and Glenn both. Well, Randy Kirtley too. All three of these guys pretty much just live here. The stories are crazy at night sometimes. We talk about electricity. Sometimes we talk about moving earth. I mean, it just depends. All these guys are talking about work when they're off work. We're heading back to green racing here as we get 4 red lights and a green. Just like Formula One, but we're racing NASCAR here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going back green. Bruce Bullington now on orange lane as he's giving it everything he's got to try to catch Randy Kirtley there down on yellow. Sandwiched in between the two, Sam Nelson on blue. Sam Nelson able to make it through there as we get a car down on black. That is the car Bruce Bullington. Bruce Bullington back up in the mix. Bruce taking a little bit of a love nudge there as he's contacted by one of the cars that come off. Bruce needs to get his Bronze Warrior forged in the Mountains of Moria car put on that high banks corner there of orange. Like I said, already out of the gate, and we got excitement here at Lanes Raceway. Full-fledged, unprecedented excitement. As we go live back again here, that blue lane is Sam Nelson driving her deep there for a few lanes as he's kind of backed off a little bit now. Randy Kirtley trying to pass Sam Nelson. He makes a nice clean pass there on yellow as Randy Kirtley's trying to reel in Bruce for yet another lap there on the inside on yellow. And he's made that pass there as he goes in through the Dead Man's Corner roundabout. Both of them staying somewhat even. Also there on the outside red lane, Guillermo Sauer in the mix. What a car to be able to keep up with these guys. As Guillermo's kind of slowing her down just a little bit as the incidences ensue. As there's a little bit of a love nudge there taking place as we get Robert Whitaker there back on black. The orange car, Bruce Bullington, really ripping it around Dead Man's Corner as he goes to make another pass on blue here, which is Sam Nelson. And he is, in between two cars, and he makes it through without a scratch. But then he gets a love nudge by Sam Nelson on blue, losing a lap. Randy Kirtley within 5 laps to Bruce Bullington right now with 40 seconds left to go. Randy Kirtley there on yellow, turning a impressive 1.87 median lap time on yellow, ladies and gentlemen. 1.93 turned by Bruce Bullington on orange. So it just goes to show you how fast these cars can go. Like I said, I built a car here for a guy and was able to turn a 1.8 something. Let me see, I got it on my phone. On orange, which is higher than yellow. 1.88. There's the proof, ladies and gentlemen. Best lap. Now, that median was a collaboration between me and Tom Payton currently at that time, but I ran 3 laps with the car, and that's what I was able to run. So that just goes to show you a 1.88 on orange is definitely a front-runner car. As we can see, Bruce Bullington's best lap of a 1.85 in the mix with all the boys. We see Bruce Bullington there still on orange, just really reeling them out there. Nice smooth car, transitioning very nicely through Dead Man's Corner. As there's another incident that takes place, Randy Kirtley almost getting involved in that accident, followed by Sam Nelson. We see Guillermo Sauer's car was involved in that with Robert Whitaker, as both of these guys are now put back on by Glenn Burden, and we're going back green. Our 2 friendly track marshals, Glenn Burden and Gerald Suttle. And we get a red rotation as we see Randy Kirtley there just to the left of your screen on yellow as he's trying his best to reel in Bruce. He's got him within 4 laps now. Bruce Bullington 238, Randy Kirtley 234, average laps 59.5, 58.5. Third place, Robert Whitaker with a respectable 53.5 average laps of 214. Gerald Suttle 168, Sam Nelson 164, Tom Payton 106, Glenn Burden 99, Guillermo Sauer 50 laps as he just now got in. Very impressive runs by Sam Nelson, Tom Payton, and Guillermo. As I was watching Guillermo's car, he was staying in the mix with these guys on red lane, really motivating, really moving quickly as he was tied up pretty close with Bruce Bullington and Randy Kirtley, our top 2 runners here. And he was on red lane, which is a far outlier between yellow and orange. So very, very respectful for Guillermo to get his car up to that sort of speed. My wife right behind me, very, very cold hands. Not so pleasant on the skin. 1 minute and 39 seconds left to go as we see every one of the guys in the pit station over there. We already see Gerald Suttle up there on Dead Man's Corner, ready to do some track marshaling, eager to do so. Also, we see Glenn Burden there working on his car outside of the norm. Usually Glenn Burden, he's hanging out over here on this green table here to the left of us from the green track. Usually hanging out over there with Randy Kirtley. Tom Payton also over there in his usual spot, especially when Paul's here. Him and Paul like to sit right across from each other. My wife rocking out as she comes out of the shop area. So far, so good as we got about 3,000 drop frames there on Facebook. Respectable, I guess, for the total. Probably every 30 or 40 seconds, probably get a little bit of a glitch going on there. Running beautifully on Twitch with 120 frames dropped only. And then, of course, we're recording for YouTube, which I'll try to get posted up before we leave. It usually takes about 45 minutes or so to get each one of the videos uploaded. It's got to pass through a bunch of inspections and all that mess, and all the copyright and everything else. And, of course, I title them. "10 seconds left to go. They better start motivating, ladies and gentlemen." We see Bruce Bullington getting his car put back there on white. Guillermo Sauer taking him a nice athletic jump off of the blue table there. We allow that. Boom, we're going green, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, and right out of the gate, we see a beautiful pass by Sam Nelson there on purple. There on orange, though, we see Randy Kirtley trying to reel in Bruce Bullington as he's able to make that pass on the inside. He's on orange, Bruce on white, and Sam Nelson's car really driving clean there on purple. All these guys within 1.9 range on average. Bruce Bullington 255, Randy Kirtley 252. We keep an eye on that white lane just to keep track to make sure he's not getting past as he makes a nice move around there. As Glenn Burton's able to get a car back on, we get a track call, a double track call actually, as a car comes off, and that car being Bruce Bullington. Somebody needs to hit that button if there's no triggers. We see Gerald Suttle there getting a car from out from underneath the orange. That must have been a good smooth licking there to be able to knock that baby that far up underneath there. And we appreciate Gerald doing that. Robert Whitaker's car, that was. It came off that hard. My wife over here just to the left of me. You can't see her off screen. She's rocking and whispering at the same time. As we go back green, a large cluster makes way. Randy Kirtley gets through, but unsettled a few individuals. As we see the car on green, Guillermo Sauer, it was just a little too much for his nerves as he ended up driving just a hair too deep. Back green racing, we got a stalled car there on blue. That's Tom Payton's car, stalled out. Changing my microphone here so you can better hear just a little bit better. I'm hoping everything's coming through. Chest test, there we go. Yeah, it's just very, very subtle, it looks like. So we get a couple cars more off over there. Gerald Suttle's able to get them on real quick. Nobody being penalized for hitting the buttons. Or just nobody following the rules, most likely. So go back green here. We see a switch in the leadership. Randy Kirtley taking over there on orange as he makes that pass, but he comes off. I think that's Randy anyway. Nope, that is Guillermo Sauer and his truck body he's got cut out. I know him and Randy Kirtley both have orange vehicles. It's in the High Banks corner there. Now, Guillermo, for sure, when he comes, he loves the oval track. He gets a car set up really nice for it. But Randy Kirtley really, I mean, he's been working on that GRC over there when he comes in. And he's got that baby planted for sure. And it's kind of abnormal because him and Bruce, usually Bruce is out ahead of Randy. But like I said, he's been really putting in work. He's got that new body he just got put on. We painted that up here at Lanes Raceway. Of course, each color is $5 here at Lanes Raceway. And, of course, we'll mask them, do whatever you want to do to them. And he likes a red stripe on the bottom of the car, red stripe down the center, and some blue metallic. We actually added a little bit of metal flake this time, and it really come out nice. I didn't put the metal flake in the red. I was afraid that would make it look like pink, so we kept that sealed off. But it did. It come out very nice, I thought. So go back green race, and Randy making a super fast quick pass on Guillermo Sauer there on green. So goes back around. Bruce Bullington there fighting for everything he's got to stay ahead there on white, running his own lane, running it clean actually. 48 laps turn there on white. That's going to be respectful as we round about this end of this heat. He's going to be in the 50s somewhere for sure. All three of them in a line there. A little bit of a jolt there, Randy Kirtley's car there on orange, as we see Bruce Bullington ending his white heat there with 54, the most turns so far. Randy Kirtley turning 62, the most so far on orange. Randy Kirtley's car really flying out there. Bruce Bullington's 58.4, 59.2, just a single less than a lap difference average between the two. Very dry here in the shop as my nose is itching like crazy. Almost need to squirt some lotion up in there. My wife's freezing. I'm going to give her my jacket. She's freezing. I'm burning up. This computer's burning up. Everything over here is burning up except the building. Thank the Lord for that, for sure. We don't want the building burning up. Last night there were some guys went over there to eat at the Mexican restaurant. Evidently they were cooking so much Mexican food. It was like a fog in there, which is good. Uh, One of the owners of the Mexican restaurant La Cabana next door came over, brought us our food. He knows we're kind of busy over here too, and he brought it over there. And we had a conversation about just being blessed here in Livermore, Kentucky, and how that we thank the Lord for making a way for both of us to meet. And he's just a very pleasant business owner to be with, especially next door. And his boy comes over here every once in a while, or his nephew, I'm sorry, comes over here every once in a while, and he races on the drag strip. And out of the guys that usually come here, he's one of the only ones I've seen turn triple zeros on the regular when it comes to reaction time. And I tell that boy, because he comes over here and we do a little bit of hillbilly trading. I'll take some of his chips and salsa, because their chips and salsa over at La Cabana are unreal good. And I'm a very picky man when it comes to taste. And I'll tell you what, that is some of the best chips and salsa I've ever ate. Anyways, he brings some over. And I let him take the old Mustang out there that has laid waste to many drag racers out there. And I let him, play a little bit on the track, and I'm enjoying me some chips and salsa. But I sit back and I watch that kid, and as young as he is, it's pretty exceptional to see him take a rental controller out there and be turning triple zeros on the regular. I said, man, you just need to come and drag race, really. Because if you're a drag racer, it's pretty hard to turn a triple zero reaction time, and this guy's doing it on the regular. 5 seconds left to go as we head back racing here. Everybody eager, biting at the bit. Bruce Bullington now, one of our track marshals, on the exit of Dead Man's Corner. And boom, just like that, we're back in it. Randy Kirtley turning a lap, first place currently on White Lane. Going to give up a few laps here as we see people on the inside passing him. But Randy Kirtley, a very smooth run there on that white lane, as we can see him reeling in the red lane of Glenn Burden, making that pass nice and clean, as both of them able to keep their speeds up wide open through those lanes. As we get an incident take place, Robert Whitaker runs into Glenn Burden there on red, as we get a weird quasi of people half throttling for some reason. Something's going on here. I don't know what's going on. Randy Kirtley's coming around there. Oh, we got to shorten the track, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a minute. Give me a second as I get some stuff to fix it. Randy Kirtley, ladies and gentlemen. This ain't his first track. He's out there getting it. He's going to super glue the old track, him and Glenn Burden, and get her back up and running so I can stay in here with you, commentate this baby. As you can see, Black Lane down there really in dire straits. We look down in there. He's putting a little bit of super glue. This is definitely a temporary fix for sure, as after this race is over with, I go out there with some welding contact cement, and it's like you let both sides dry, stick her down in there, and she's a lot more flexible than that super glue. Super glue, temporary fix. You can get it off pretty easy with a little bit of fingernail polish remover. So not a big deal to get it off there before placing down the good cement. But it will work in a fix, and it will keep that lane from shorting out on the guys. That's what the little hiccup was, why everybody's like, ooh, 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 like that on their cars. So just take a few seconds here. Hopefully his finger don't get stuck there. You know how super glue is. If it touches anything that can produce sodium bicarbonate, it seems to just straight, or water for that matter, it'll straight just dry up on you. But a pro at this. I got one of his old tools from back in the day whenever he ran the track there in Livermore, Randy Kirtley. So see, you can see him using that aluminum tool. I think that's a TWP track roller. But I'll show you the tool he used to use back in the day. It's quite hilarious. This is the tool he used back in the 90s. This old wooden tool like that they used to roll the braid down with. Anyways, it just shows you how far technology has come. Thank you, Pappy. He responded with a no problem, and he does mean that, ladies and gentlemen. He is here for the betterment of Lanes Raceway for sure. As he comes in, he tries to give people some competition. He tries to help everybody any way they can. You see any issues, he's another upstanding citizen here in the community, just like Glenn Burden. Look at him checking the track out, seeing if there's something in the track, anything. These guys are always looking for a problem to solve. But they do enjoy racing. It's funny, too. Both of these guys and my brother hung out for years when my brother was racing dirt track. And it just goes to show you the kind of character these guys got. Every one of these guys in here, great character. Love hanging out with each and every one of these guys. They're just good friends at the end of the day. Some of them I met here. Some of them I've known for quite some time. But either way you look at it, just a blessing to be around. I thank the Lord for him. Randy Kirtley making a dive bomb there. No, that was Guillermo Sauer. Guillermo Sauer there making a dive bomb there on Blue as he makes a perfect pass right before Dead Man's Corner there on the front stretch of the track. As we go back green race and we see Randy Kirtley still trying to fend people off there on white. He's going to slowly get eat up by the lower lanes there as we see Tom Payton making the pass there on purple, passing him up. But he's still our leader as he's going to try to make a pass there on Glenn Burden. He makes it nice and fold and without either one of them having to let off. As we get another incident there involving several cars and a full speed come apart in the backstretch of the track as we see the orange car and the black car there involved in an incident in the crook of the track. That black car being Glenn Burden on red and the orange car, if I'm not mistaken, being Guillermo Sauer, as I believe it was hard enough to knock a braid out of that baby. These cars are moving. These cars are motivating. Fast speeds, fast incidents here at Lanes Raceway. And I'm sure Randy Kirtley is very pleased that we can see there in the High Banks corner of the track, his car not taking too much damage there. White sticker still intact. Doesn't look like a whole bunch of nose damage done to that baby. So, I'm sure he is very pleased as he loves his bodies. He tries to bring several of his old busted up ones. Said, well, just give it to the kids, let them use it. I got bags of them babies, people bringing in their old bodies. I said, throw that dude in the trash and get you a new one. If somebody needs a body, I got some bodies down here actually in pretty good condition now. But that's just the kind of character he is. He'd rather see somebody have something than nothing at all. But thank goodness from all of our racers here and all their character, they all bring in their stuff that's, I'm not going to say gently used. I'm going to say pretty much thrown through the washing machine as they are involved in several incidents. But nonetheless, they would still be able to be used for normal running around track behavior for sure. Randy Kirtley able to fend off several people as he stays neck and neck there with Tom Payton on purple, but he's still got to give it up to Tom as we get a rider here on Glenn Burden's car riding on Randy Kirtley. Most likely it's from where he's been involved in a wreck. His front wheels are down low again and causing him to come off on that track. So we see Guillermo Sauer trying to get a car put back on. That was Guillermo's car as he's caused several people to have an incident there. Hopefully he's still got an axle in that car as it took a huge hit in the back end. People not letting off, seeing him trying to get his car back on. But nonetheless, they have no one to blame but themselves at the end of the day because they should somewhat be looking ahead of themselves to know to let off. But in their mind, the mind works kind of similar to this. Oh, well, he'll get it on in time, and I won't have to lose any time. But in actual reality, it doesn't always work out that way. As we see, he's probably got a bent axle here from where he laid that baby on the track, and it got smoked by several cars. This happens. It's like our racing. We're like I said, none of us are perfect. Our minds are not working 100% of the time, all the time. Uh, we forget things. We do things out of character. That's what makes us human. It's also the most beautiful thing in this world, as we are all imperfect to a fault for sure. None of these guys, of course, enjoying what's taking place right now with all these incidents taking place. It's kind of down, but it's also a way for people to develop their character skills for sure. As how they take it is how they're viewed. So you can see none of these guys upset, and it just goes to show you the character of these guys. They don't want to ruin a relationship over a mistake or an incident, and we love it. As all these guys here for a hobby, here to have fun, here to relax. Maybe some of them just here to get out of the house. Who knows? But we're all more than welcome here at Lanes Raceway to open up to anybody that wants to put a mailbox here. So we get an incident between Robert Whitaker's car and Guillermo Sauer's car. Full speed, wide open hit there in the high banks. As possibility of Robert Whitaker stripping a gear there in that car, or could just be a pinion stripped. But nonetheless, that car wasn't moving. Hopefully it ain't a bent axle. Like I said, that was a pretty good hit there in the back stretch. And it brings a question up, too, that I get sometimes. Why do you guys not have like a pit in one of these tracks? And some tracks do that, and I've thought about it a few times, but the issue that we keep running into is these lanes are so close together, and we're kind of banked all the way around this tri-oval track. Even though it's slightly banked all the way around, we're still banked. So these tires, if people are using glue, they'll slide down, and the incident that just took place there will happen to anybody. Because if you're coming around, your back's sloshing around and stuff, that's going to happen. So I don't know, maybe in the future we might put a little pit box for people to put their cars on a live track. But most likely it'll just be hit the button, everybody, let the guy back in real quick. Randy Kirtley there in the lead, 353. Robert Whitaker, 317. Bruce Bullington, 292. Sam Nelson, 284. Tom Payton, 227. Gerald Suttle, 168. Guillermo Sauer, 155. Glenn Burden, 150. So from the bottom to the top, we're looking at an average lap change between 8 laps per heat. That's what that stands for. On average, Randy Kirtley is turning 58.8 laps every heat. Glenn Burden at the bottom turning 50 laps every heat. So only a difference between 8 laps. This is definitely in a heat of 2 minutes. That is either trigger control or wrecks. And that's what it boils down to, ladies and gentlemen. These guys are definitely running in the same class here. And it's a beautiful thing to see these people running so tight and close together. So we see Glenn had a very troublesome orange lane there, 48 laps. In comparison to others, that was quite low. But we can also look at Glenn's higher marks here, like on red, for instance, he ran 51, and other people running 50. So, everybody here calls each other cheaters, but at the end of the day, we're benders, really, if you get down to it. We bend rules. We don't cheat them. We go through a vigorous teching process here, and we tech the cars, make sure everybody is not running 332nd axles or something crazy, anything like that, But we make sure that they're within the rules, they're running the proper motor. And the big deal is, are they running the proper motor? Are they staying, 1/8-inch axle, 48 pitch type stuff, crown gears? Then, they're within the rules for the most part. Now, we do have furthering rules other than that for like body placement, body height, width, that whole stuff. But we check all that stuff with a tool. Every one of these guys goes through the same process. I'm not going to stick a stomp motor on an RPM gauge or something, at least currently now. With the lap times I see turning here, there's nobody that's outside of the limits of what these motors can turn. So, yeah, until I see something like that, we're not going to progress to that point of teching. And like I said, this is a hobby. We're not racing for millions of dollars here, ladies and gentlemen. It's just simply guys having a good time. And it's definitely a good time for people to get started. Get in this, join in with these guys, come on in, have a good time. You don't have to be a guy. I mean, it just so happens that there's a lot of guys here, but this is for men and women. We've had women racing. My mom's even raced down here. So get down here, join up with these guys. If you want a woman to teach you how to race, my wife, she just raced last night. She can race a GTP car and be there with the guys too. So, you know, come on down, give it a shot. I think you'll enjoy it. If you don't want to get in a race, you just want to hang out with the family and friends and putt around the track a little bit. We got rental cars here, quite a lot bit slower than this. Come hang out, join in the festivities, join the environment. So we see Randy Kirtley there getting Robert Whitaker's car, our current leader, his car put back on white in a timely fashion. Robert Whitaker's car in a whole lot better shape than it was the previous time he came. The previous time he came, he just told everybody just to continue on racing. He was having a lot of issues with his car, and I hate when that happens. When guys come down to spend some time with us, and they tell us to do that. It kind of hurts my heart a little bit, as I want every one of these guys to be able to finish the race out and be able to run with the guys. And the kind of pain that they're having is Robert Whitaker gives a little bit of a love nudge. I was wondering how long that was going to last between him and Gerald, constantly going around and around, neck and neck on red and white. And like we just seen there, it eventually just had to give it up as we see that incident take place. And that incident took place so quickly that it was able to involve Glenn Burden's car, or Tom Payton's car, I'm sorry. But, yeah, those guys were neck and neck there on red and white. It was something to see for about 3 laps there as we was following along with Robert Whitaker. Randy Kirtley there checking the track, possibly braid or something, I don't know. But it looked like just the cars got involved with each other on that one. That's all it looked like. Unless they're looking for a part off of a car. Now, that's possible too. But I do not know currently what is going on here. He's rubbing the track down with something. I heard Randy Curtis say somebody is full of it. That's all I know. So maybe somebody's just saying something. But that wreck there I seen was an incident between Robert Whitaker and Gerald Suttle. And it's just where they were running so close together. This happens. I mean, you can't run side by side for very long without an incident taking place on this track for sure. You can gain so much speed on these backstretch, and you can carry it all the way through the track. That's the problem. As we get that car of Robert Whitaker coming off yet again, involving in an incident with Gerald Suttle. As they get these cars put back on real quick, we're going back green. Ooh, as we see Gerald Suttle hammer down on his car. It did not sound good on his gear. That's why I say, ladies and gentlemen, when people say stay off the trigger, I mean, a nice person would stay off the trigger, but here's the thing. If it's green, baby. Sam telling him to line his car up. If Gerald lines his car up, it's a completely thrash gear. So Gerald does not need to listen to that noise from Sam. Oh, Sam, sometimes he cracks me up. Line her up, boy. But he just went over there real quick. He's going to slide that gear over and press it up against it and tighten it up. But yeah, most likely that gear is probably thrashed from the hard acceleration that took place there whenever they went green. And it was just a little loose. If you take the tips of these crown gears off, it wears them out. Give him a couple more car links there as Gerald gets his car back underway. Should be able to finish this heat no problem. Maybe even finish the race if he didn't strip the tips of the crown gear too much. And it sounds pretty clean, so I think he's probably good for the race as long as he makes sure it's tight after every heat. Like I said, these, especially the Parma gears, they can take a lot of beatings. As we see Gerald involved in an incident, actually, that was pretty crazy to see. As we see Robert Whitaker actually come out of the track, hit Gerald, knock Gerald out of the track, and then whenever Gerald come back down and hit Robert yet again, it put Robert back in his lane. So, that was just a happenstance that took place there on the seventh heat with about 30 seconds left to go. Pretty cool to see if you was paying attention to red and white lane. If not, that's where it's located. As we head back green racing here, dropping still just 120 frames for Twitch and 3,480, 20 more frames dropped off of Facebook. But we've kind of balanced out, and everything seems to be running quite clean. As we get a rider and no track stoppage, as we see Bruce trying his best to get that car back in on white. As we get another rider, we got a bent car there on white of Robert Whitaker. His car has been involved in quite a few wrecks that previous heat, so that does make some sense. Robert Whitaker still currently our leader with 363 laps. One heat remaining for him. Two heats remaining for Randy Kirtley with 353 and a total average of 58.8. Sam Nelson there in third place, 57.5, running really well on both tracks tonight. Bruce Bullington there with 58.4, also running really well tonight. Tom Payton, not a whole lot of action coming from Tom tonight. Usually Tom, he's in the midst of it all, beating and banging and busting heads. But he's turning respectable there with 57.8. Gerald Suttle there, 54.5, 54.2 of Guillermo Sauer. 51 laps of Glenn Burden. Glenn Burden having a little bit of trouble here tonight on the oval track, but running really well on the orange track. Keep an eye on all these guys as they go to work on their cars. I'm going to take a small break, and I'll be right back with you. All right, we're back. Run, Guillermo, run as he runs to his station. We also see Gerald Suttle getting his car there in the nick of time on green as we're running everybody neck and neck with each other here. Red, white, and purple are your ghosts for this one. We see a fast car, Guillermo Sauer there on black, really ripping it on black. Sam Nelson there, our current leader in orange. So we follow along with him. He's able to stay neck and neck there for a second with Black Lane. Running really good consecutive laps here on orange as he goes, ooh, on the inside. Is he going to make it? And he makes the pass by the skin of his teeth there on Gerald Suttle. And neither one of them involved in an incident. Both of them running really good and clean. Sam Nelson running nice and tight. as he's able to try his best to reel in yellow lane of Tom Payton. We get a car off there. That car being Guillermo Sauer, as he's trying his best to run as hard as possible to get as many laps as possible. Randy Kirtley going to do something with that car. Oh, okay. So we see Randy Kirtley at least making Guillermo follow the rules. This sentiment needs to be done with everyone, not just one person. Now, whether or not Guillermo called out to stay with the rules, he probably did. And if that's the case, then we're all good here. But definitely, if we do it for one, it needs to be done for everybody, not just the up runners, for sure. So disappointing to see that, you know, everybody's making an issue with Guillermo if that's the case. I don't know. I cannot hear out there. But it's funny that this whole race long, there's not been anybody put in front of that line other than Glenn. And then now all of a sudden we're putting people behind that line. I don't know. You make the rules here and then people don't want to enforce them. Then they want to enforce them. Then they don't want to enforce them. Just keep your eyes open and hopefully everything works out. Like I said, he can go to sleep at night knowing that the rules were followed. So we see Sam Nelson there on orange, reeling them in, barely, narrowly escaping a wreck there on blue of Glenn Burden. And he's back around again, trying to push his best to pass Gerald on the outside in the high banks. Very risky, but he does it. As he makes that pass, he's going in to try to make that pass on Tom Payton. And he was reeling him in really tight. Sam Nelson, what a run there on orange. 59 laps total turned. Second best of the night. 57.7 average, Sam Nelson. In the lead right now, Robert Whitaker, second place with 51.9 average. One heat for both of these guys left to run. Randy Kirtley with 2 heats left to run, as he's at 58.8 right now, total laps on average. Tom Payton increasing his total average, 58.3. Him and Bruce Bullington both. All these 3 guys right now are going to be your top 3 unless something else changes. Because they are all in a higher average. Guillermo Sauer, 56.4. Still got 3 heats left to go, so he can definitely increase that average. Gerald Suttle, also 55 with 3 heats. Him and Glenn Burden both can increase their average also with 3 heats left to go. We'll see how things go as everybody's entered into the pits now, working on their cars. Give that to him. Let me tear some stuff up here, Carol. I got about 30 or 40. You got that in that copy here? That's 26. Thank you, Gerald. I'm gonna trip again. I about went down. Oh. Whew, I about set myself up for disaster right there. Twice in a row. About went to the ground. We see everybody here getting their stuff underway. Bruce Bullington, the man, the myth, the legend, the GRC, the streak, the king. When it comes to GRC, this man can flat drive a GRC. He's back in the mix with them. My wife there taking Doritos from Lane's Raceway. As long as you pay for them. There we go. I love that like symbol coming across there. Yep. We pay for our stuff here at Lane's Raceway. Double if you're a Kirtley. Oh, just so happens you're a Kirtley. You got to pay double. All right, 0 seconds left to go. We're heading back green. Our track marshals now, Randy Kirtley, Robert Whitaker. Robert Whitaker there in the bottom right portion of your screen, upper left hand. by the crook of the track. Ooh, we get a car kind of leaking out there on purple. That'd be Glenn Burden's car. As the nose of that car, the braids are too high, one or the other, but could it be exiting a corner entirely too hard, sensitivity too high in the controller? Could be multiple things. We see Randy Kirtley here enforcing the law. So it wasn't just Guillermo, it was law enforcement Randy Kirtley. He's back at it again. He will go by the rules. Uh, Glenn Burden, I don't know. Maybe Glenn said, hey, thank you, Randy, for enforcing the law on my car. I don't know. I'm just here, ladies and gentlemen, seeing the same view that you're seeing. Now, of course, the cars are quite a bit more loud here for me than they are you. But nonetheless, Sam Nelson, your current leader there on white, as he goes to reel in red, red being Bruce Bullington. He's giving it everything he can to catch old Bruce. Bruce, the Lightning Bullington, also known as the Streak. He's ripping and he's roaring. He's out for Randy Kirtley. He's going to try his best to turn some fast laps on red. Now, I will tell you this much, too. Bruce Bullington, I've rolled his back wheels before, and them babies are freed up. Randy Kirtley doing his best to snag a car, but cannot snag it. I'm sure he yelled out, hit that track button, y'all. As we see these cars overwhelming him, he's able to get them back on there, and that was Bruce Bullington's car there on red. Sam Nelson able to get that lap on Bruce, and that's what he's wanting to see, just kind of fend off Bruce as his car on Bruce is quite sloppy coming out of the crook of the track, but that's all boiled down to speed. Bruce has a fast car there. Now, that car you see at the High Banks corner there on black, that would be Guillermo Sauer's car on orange. Or yellow, I'm sorry. Randy Kirtley, of course, going to put him behind the line as he hit the button. I don't know what Guillermo may or may not be happy about that, but hey, these are the rules at Lanes Raceway. If our track marshal yells for the track, it's a different situation. Our track marshals have rule, which our track marshals are also the racers, so hopefully they're not playing favoritism to try to win races. If they are, we have means to break legs around here. No, I'm just teasing. But anyways, another car comes off there on black. We need a track call here. I was about to track call it myself. That car back on there, ladies and gentlemen, in a timely fashion, if you don't mind. Let me just go ahead and keep my mouse over here because I rule over all at the end of this. And if I see something like they're taking too long to grab a car or too scared to grab it, I can snack that button real quick. Be ready on the draw if I see anything fishy happening. Got to watch these racers sometimes. Some of them got good golf etiquette. Other ones be cheating. We don't like cheating here at Lanes Raceway. No, I'm not saying they're cheating. I'm saying they're probably nervous. These cars are hauling the mail coming around that high banks, boys. I'm telling you, you got to watch it. I've come out with some bruised fingers and bruised hands before. A little cut finger once. And these guys, they hold no mercy when it comes to trying to get them dubskis. Sam Nelson there on white, he's ripping around in a group of them right now in Dead Man's Corner coming around the high banks there as we get another leak of a car. Get him on the track here. We get him back on the track. Yes, I do have control, and I did that time. I bet they're like, why did that shut off? Well, it shut off because I have the control up here, ladies and gentlemen. I forgot I had the control, but now I got it. And just to let you know, I will be shutting that track off if I can see that my track marshals are suffering and they can't get to it quick enough. Sam Nelson, 462. Current leader, Tom Payton, second place, 409. Robert Whitaker, 363. Randy Kirtley, 353. Bruce Bullington, 350. Guillermo Sauer, 343. Gerald Suttle, 335, and then Glenn Burden with 314. Like I said, Glenn Burden's car really shining beautifully there on the orange track. Having a little bit of trouble here tonight on the oval track, but that happens. Everything will work out. All things will be good. Got a few minutes here as everybody gets to go and work on their cars and get their stuff back up and working. As we can see here, 1 minute and 44 seconds. Sam Nelson talking about a 3-car max on something. Maybe he's talking about drag racing. Speaking of drag racing, We have drag races here held on Wednesday nights at 6:15. We also have drag races held at 6:30 on Saturday. So come on in and try your luck at winning some drag racing. Buybacks in the first round, $3, $5 entry per car. And 30 minutes before we start the race, we'll have the track on so you can get times. If you just want to come in and mess around on the drag strip and hang out with your cars and see what you can run, test and tune, it's $5, 15 minutes. You control both lanes. You can either do that with the pay range, or you can come in here and pay us with cash. Before it's all said and done, we would love here at Lanes Raceway to have every single one of these lanes on pay range automated, so that if you want time, you just go up and you swipe up and you get time on that specific lane. Frees us up a little bit to where that we don't have to add time all the time. Of course, a lot of people say, well, how much work is it involved in running the soccer business? Well, if you're painting bodies all day, you're building cars all day, you're maintaining the pinball machines that lose screws and bolts, you're sweeping, mopping the floor, making sure the bathrooms are clean, there is always something you can be doing. In this scenario right now during race is one of the only times I get to sit down. I get to enjoy that time with you. I get to talk about racing. I get to commentate the video. But if we didn't have track marshals like we got right now, I wouldn't be able to do that. I'd have to go out there. As you guys have seen some of the streams before where you don't see commentation by me or anything. You just see the track going around in circles, which is good too. I think the guys can still view that, of course, and watch their times and everything. Some people really want to know what's going on, though, and that's what the commentation for slot car racing is all about, is for those that don't know exactly what is taking place here. And what's taking place is everybody's going to run every one of these lanes, and they get 2 minutes to run as many laps as they can. And after that 2 minutes, they rotate to the next lane. They come off on white and go back in on red. What I mean by that is there's setouts here. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, it says on deck Robert Whitaker. That's the guy there in the crook of the track. He's on deck. That means he's coming back in next round for the final heat, and he'll be on red. Randy Kirtley was on deck previously, and he is gotten put in on red. But it looks like to me maybe he forgot to hook his controller up. I don't know. Hook somebody's controller up. Something's going on here. I don't know what's going on. As I'm talking to you about how these races are structured. Now, after each heat, people put a sticker on. Before the heat, before the race starts, whatever lane you're on, that's the color sticker you put on. And then the next heat, you rotate to the next lane, which tells you on the track panel by sticker, or if you need help, you just ask somebody. They'll tell you where you're going to rotate to. Once you rotate to that lane, you swap the sticker, and it's another 2 minutes. You get 3 minute interval in between to work on your car, clean it, oil it, glue it, and get it ready for the next heat. And thus, this is how the race works at Lanes Raceway. At the end, total lap number is what dictates who's the winner and who's the loser. Currently, right now, our winner is Tom Payton, but he's coming out after this heat, so he better make it last. With 423 laps, Tom Payton out in the lead, really giving it everything he's got this heat, as he's involved in an incident there, but really running strong, as we see another car there involved in an incident and a pause on the lap by someone, who knows. And that car is going to go in front of the line there. That's Bruce Bullington. So now that Bruce hit the button, it is his responsibility to hit it again to go green. Bruce Bullington looking out for Randy Kirtley, as he told him to fix Randy Kirtley's body there on red. Like I said, each one of these guys just have a beautiful character about themselves, and great just being around these guys. Great character. I mean, you got to love these guys. Great guys to be around. They'll help you with anything, and they really want to push this racing semi-sport to its limits for sure. We go back green race. We see Tom Payton there, back in the mix here, running on white lane, trying to stay ahead of these guys. Bruce Bullington and Randy Kirtley pass Tom there on the outside as their cars are running very, very quickly on the high side there. And this could be boiled down to a gear ratio, but another thing that I'm noticing here is I can hear a squeal on Tom Payton's gear uh, when he's going around the track there. And what I believe that to be is Tom Payton was involved in that earlier incident and now involved in another incident as he gets fully speed hit by Guillermo Sauer. We were one car away from a complete J, and anyways, that didn't take place. So everybody narrowly escaping there, and one of them being Randy Kirtley. Tom Payton was involved in that incident. Like I said, hit solidly in the side by Guillermo Sauer's truck, his Nash truck there, that orange one in your view. Sometimes the competition gets so thick out here with these guys, you just don't know how it's going to end up. But Tom Payton running really well there on white, just running his own lane, but just catching some of the trash that hits in his lane. This happens on red and white. You guys know this. I'm telling you, nothing new here. So he's trying to stay in an open area where if he hears a wreck, he can glance ahead. And this is good strategical moves by Tom Payton here as he's staying in these open areas. Now he's got the crew coming up behind him. Probably a wise idea at this point is when they get right up there on him, just to let them go on by, as you've heard before. As we see Randy Kirtley and Bruce Bullington's cars involved in an incident there. As we get a heat over there, no one was able to hit the button in time. Bruce Bullington there. Randy Kirtley ending there on red, turning 56 laps. We got one more round to go. Tom Payton, your current leader with 463. He finished up that heat. Sam Nelson with 462. He finished up that heat. Randy Kirtley still got one more to go. Going to have to turn quite a few laps to catch Tom there, but I think it is definitely plausible to be able to catch it. Guillermo Sauer also with one more heat to go, needing the same thing. Bruce Bullington with one more heat, needing also to reel these guys in. Like I said, it's going to boil down very close. Gerald Suttle, one heat left to go. Glenn Burton, one heat left to go. Robert Whitaker, one heat left to go. We'll see how things turn out here. With a minute and 42 seconds left to go, it's boiling down to this, ladies and gentlemen. There's going to be several guys, I believe, going to be on the same lap. So I need to warn those that are coming out. Give me 1 second. Hey, guys, don't forget to leave your sticker where you finish because it's going to be a pretty tight finish. So just let those guys know that it's going to be pretty tight. Want to make sure that the guys leave their stickers where they end up coming off the track. The question being that if they don't, what happens? Well, where the start-finish line is, if neither one of the people leave it, they tie essentially with the worst lap. But usually the guys are pretty good about leaving their stickers where they're supposed to be. And this has been a really, really good night. Comparison to the last weekend, we've had a lot of wrecks last weekend. You guys remember in the duel last weekend, it was non-stop carnage on this track. And it's weird. Like, some weekends, the guys they have that rhythm. Then other weekends, they don't. And then it's they think it's the track. Now, I don't know. Could it be the track? I guess it could. Whether or not the track has just moved a little bit because it's cooler. Because tonight, I made it cooler. Like, it's 64 degrees or so in here where I'm at right now. Now, I guess it's about 66 out there where they're at. But last week, it was 70 degrees in here. It was warmer. So I guess that causes an expand to take place. But you guys seen it last week. Those guys were coming off in the high banks like every heat, like one after another, after another, after another. Now, could it be their cars bent? Most likely. But I don't know. It could be the track. I mean, worst case scenario could have been the track. And maybe this track just runs better cool. But a note to be added that, tonight these guys were running good. Hardly any track calls to be made on average to last week. I see 2 cars off there right after I get done telling you these guys are running clean. We get 2 cars off there in the high bank corner there. Tom Payton, another one with good character there, fixing these guys' braids, making sure that they stay on good. We appreciate Tom here at Lanes Raceway, one of our Ultimate members here. If you're interested in being an Ultimate member, I believe it's $30 a month or $300 a year. 10% off food and snacks, 10% off of parts, 25% off track time, and 25% off of race entry. So it's a pretty good deal. If you combine that with unlimited track time, you get, instead of it being $99 a month or $99 a week, I can't remember if it's a month or a week. Here I am running this place to the best of my ability. I can't even remember my own prices. But anyways, it makes it 74 or something. So we get a rider on red up there, Robert Whitaker. Lane. We get Guillermo Sauer put back in his lane. See Randy Kirtley now taking over the lead here in the final few seconds. Let's see Bruce Bullington right there behind him, just 2 laps, just needing to catch him the best he can. So you get high speed come apart. Several people hitting that track button. Bruce Bullington running the median of 1.88. Very, very quick for green. Or blue, I'm sorry. Randy Kirtley on green running a 2.0, our current leader. 4 laps down. It's going to boil down to this, ladies and gentlemen. Can Bruce Bullington catch Randy Kirtley? He definitely has the speed capability of doing so. But the requirement, we get several off there. For some reason or other, that car just would not go in the lane. As we've seen Tom Payton trying his best to get it in there. Sometimes these cars are very finicky. As we hear a bad gear just strip. I believe that's the gear of Robert Whitaker's car. As we see that car coming off yet again. Maybe knock that gear back into place. It sounds smooth again. Lucky of the draw, I suppose, to keep that baby to finish this race up. Randy Kirtley, 452, 447, Bruce Bullington, Guillermo Sauer, 446, round up your top 3. Randy Kirtley coming around there on green. So you see he goes to make a pass there on red, letting off, or pass on white, I'm sorry. Letting off and get back in it as we get a little bit of a hiccup by Guillermo, letting Randy go on by as he does. He makes that pass nice and clean. So we see a car coming flying off towards Tom Payton. He caught it with his leg. Tom Payton gets that car back on red, and we get a finish here. 468 Randy Kirtley, 463 Tom Payton. How close of a race this was between these two. Tom Payton definitely, like I said the other night in the GTP race, between him and Glenn Burden, these guys are getting good. So now I got a picture of both here. From the first race, it was Randy first, Guillermo second, Gerald third. This second race, we got Randy, Tom, and Sam. So give me a moment. Let me calculate these up, and I'll have your results here shortly. I'm going to work with my wife here, and I'll come back on the mic, and I'll have your results. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So after tallying everything up, we got Randy Kirtley first place with 687. Second place, we got Guillermo Sauer with 670. Third place, we got Gerald Suttle with 658. Fourth place, we got Tom Payton with 657. Fifth place, we got Sam Nelson with 656. Seventh place, we got Bruce with 642. That was sixth place. Seventh place, we have Glenn Burden with 624. And then eighth place, we have Robert Whitaker with 572. Thank you guys and gals for watching. If you would, like, subscribe, and share it to all your friends and family. And God bless you. This is Donovan Kirtley at Lanes Raceway. I'll see you next time.